Hello and welcome to my video about the Dulce Base. I've been wanting to do a video on either Area 51 or Dulce, and I chose Dulce since so much is already known about Area 51. Like Area 51, the Dulce Base is one filled with mystery and that of the unknown. Located on the border of Colorado and New Mexico, it is a base that is found underground, primarily under the Archuleta Mesa. Dulce is top secret and has even led to it being downplayed to its existence, even though evidence in the form of photographs and official reports state otherwise. Much of what we know about the base's operations come from two men, Thomas Edwin Costello and Phil Schneider. It should be stated that both of these men are now dead, and the latter was found lifeless in an apartment under mysterious circumstances. I will go into this in more detail later in this video. It is said that the base is set up with a series of tunnels that crisscross all over the world, allowing for travel to these locations in complete secrecy. So what exactly is Dulce Base? It is said that it is a military facility that houses both humans and at least two different alien species, all in a sense working together. It seems to be a shaky alliance since most reports state that in-house fighting occurs between all species frequently. The two races are Greys and the Reptilians. I stated that there are two alien species, but in actuality it is said that there are multiple forms of the Greys inside the base. Dulce is said to be built in a way that there are at least 7 levels, each with their own increasing level of needed security clearance. The upper 3 levels are for security, human staff housing, and executive quarters and labs. The lower 4 are for mind control, alien housing, genetic experimentation, and cryogenics. The infamously dubbed Nightmare Hall is found on level 6. What is terrifying about this base, if it is true, is that it is set up for a military to gain information while giving the alien species portions of our population for experimentation. In all the reports, it is stated that many of the people who come up missing are in fact in Dulce under the control of the alien species. As previously mentioned, the Nightmare Hall is so dubbed due to the fact that it is where horrific genetic experiments on human test subjects are performed. This is also where it is said that test subjects live in cages like abandoned animals. One of the first whistleblowers was a man by the name of Thomas Costello, who went into great detail as to what the base was about, since he claimed to have worked there. Thomas states that his wife and children were taken from him in order to have compliance, but he was unsure if they were part of the Nightmare Hall or if they were outright killed. He lived a life on the run and anonymity until he finally disappeared a few years back. There is a long article online where he goes into great detail about the base, and honestly, when I first read it a few years back, it was one of the first times I actually felt uneasy. The details are so precise and complete, and it makes it feel that this is something you shouldn't be learning about. I'll leave a link to the site in the description if you're curious about reading it. I am not known for reading long articles on the internet, but this one is definitely worth your time. The second man with information about this base was Phil Schneider. He is probably more well known than Thomas, as he made it a point to go to conventions and tell his story. He stated that he worked on building the base and was involved in many black operations while employed. In 1979, he stated he was sent to investigate a faulty mining machine when he came across the 7-foot gray alien who proceeded to fire upon him. Phil was severely injured and had several fingers burn off. Phil further stated that this started a firefight between the U.S. military stationed on base and the aliens. It is said that 66 soldiers were killed in the battle. Once Phil went public with this information on Dulce, he said he survived 13 murder attempts on his life. Sadly, on January 17, 1996, Phil was found dead in his apartment with a hose wrapped around his neck. Originally, the cause of death was deemed a stroke, but a while later it was stated to be suicide. Blood and urine were taken from the area, but the lab refused to study it, stating they wouldn't waste money on a suicide. But when the family asked to have the materials tested elsewhere, the samples mysteriously couldn't be found. Now, I apologize for being somewhat brief on this topic. The only reason I skimmed over material is due to the fact that there is so much information that it would fill a video 3 times my normal length of time. On a side note, as scary as this information is, I do believe it is valid, but you are free to feel different. But I do implore you to check out the link I am posting in the description before passing judgment. The content I make on my channel is to inform you of things you may not have known about, and it makes me happy when it leads you to investigating the topic for yourself. Remember, I am not an official source, I'm just providing information that I have. With that said, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.